When the term healing gets thrown around outside of Western medicine, outside of a doctor or maybe hospital setting, it's generally in terms of something religious or vaguely religious. This healing in a church, or this we talk about it in emotional healing, or nervous system healing. Oh, heal your nervous system, heal your emotions, heal your anxiety. And it's not so talked about in like the physical form of healing, which we think of traditionally as like that Western medicine environment. What's interesting is healing is a holistic process. Healing is not just one thing. It is a full range, and that humanity being a full range. And all of these things from this, you go from the most hippie end of the spectrum to the most rigid Western scientific end of the spectrum. You know what I mean? And everybody's talking about energy, and then it gets into God. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's God and God healing, and we work the energy and stuff. And it's like, and then with Western medicine and that side, it's like, oh, here we are with the nervous system, and let's introduce a different molecule here to block neural reception, and maybe that'll do this. And yeah, sure enough, it does. It changes reception of the body, and then you feel a different way, or maybe something that was overacting in an area of the body, a particular hormone or something, is now offset by whatever that neural blocker that was put in there. But it's still this energy of the body. It's still this movement of electrons through the body, even the Western medicine stuff. And ironically enough, it all wraps around and connects together, because even everything within pharmacopoeia is within Western medicine, within all of the synthetic molecule drugs and things like that. All of that came from a space in nature. All of that came from this very hippie, like, healing environment. So instead of just throwing one out and only doing the other thing, why not look at all of them holistically? Look at all of them critically, and all of them with like full acceptance. Just see what's out there, because you find a lot of interesting stuff about healing. And I think the one thing that doesn't get talked about in healing, what doesn't get talked about very much, is this in between that spiritual meta, quantum theta, crystal in your ass kind of stuff, and this like rigid Western medicine. What's this area in between? What is that crossover between the two? And so when you think of healing, start to realize that, oh, my emotional state, the way that I feel, that on that very low level, this energetic level, when I feel my emotions are all worked up, or my thoughts are worked up, and I'm really feeling something, maybe an emotion triggers just naturally, and you let it get worked up. Why am I, or whatever it is, whatever anxiety that's triggering that nervous system state will now wreak havoc on your entire nervous system. So that anxiety that maybe you just felt a little trigger and weren't present and aware and able to release it, then kind of got worked up a little bit more, and then all of a sudden you feel it at a higher level, and you start thinking about it. It creates a greater sense of anxiety. Why am I feeling this way? What's going on? And you end up working yourself back into a, I guess, worse off neurological state, which can become such a loop that we are in this chronic state. And when we get in these chronic states energetically, we end up causing physical ailments in our body. So that is this in-between space of why we need this invasive medical care. Why do we need these procedures to care for this system when everything is working right? It just works right. And why can't we, hybrid these two between and realize, make these connections and say, oh, I see how these emotional states that I am in, this emotional dysregulation that I am in, whatever this is actually causing these diseases in our body. There's so much tied tie-in between emotional states and dysregulated emotional states and gut health. All of the stuff that plagues our society, Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis and things like that, leaky gut, and just all of those autoimmune things. And there's so much tie-in between all of that stuff and our emotions. And there's all of this massive tie-in out there. And so be aware that in this healing process, it's a holistic thing. There is all of the care out there, and there's a lot of tie-in on the in-between. It is not just one or the other. And as you holistically heal your body and your experience, it is not just, okay, I'm going to meditate more. It becomes like, oh, I'm going to meditate more. And then you want to start keeping your mind in a better space, or maybe consuming better media, simple, like just what you're taking in is kind of what you're thinking about. Maybe even better food. Or maybe you start eating better. And you start feeling all these different feelings, and you wonder why, and you're a little quieter with yourself. There's a lot of different ways to handle the process of healing, and it always starts at this very meta emotional level, and it goes all the way through to this like intervention type level of like a Western healing model. But it's all out there, and you all absolutely can heal. And if anybody wants help working through the emotional things and finding that in between of why you're responding the way you are to life situations, I'd love to do an emotional alchemy session with you. Just anywhere on the website, you can schedule one, and we can work through those very things that maybe are causing you physical ailments from the meta level.